Hello, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and Periscope. It is JoviBeauty, and welcome back to the Jovi B Show. Welcome back. So it's New Year's Eve, and I've spent the majority of the day cleaning my house, right? Hold up. Okay, I'll read this later. I spent the majority of the day just, cleaning my house, prepping for the new year. You know how we do. And I literally was having this mini conversation with myself. Real rap. I was sitting up, I have me a little Tito's, whatever. And I was sitting having this whole mini conversation with myself. And I decided that I wanted to have the conversation with y'all. What the hell is a wife? Okay. I had this conversation. I was just thinking about this conversation I had the other day. Right. And just thinking about myself, my upbringing, what I've been through, my experiences as someone who was raised by married people, even when they got divorced, they both married other people within like 2 years of their divorce. Me being married at 24, proposed to mutual, what's the word? Not mutual, multiple times before then. And just, my take on the world and like marriage and like shit. And I just wanted to like have this I don't even know if I'm gonna be on here long, but I wanted to have this conversation. Hi, mommy. I see you there. Hello. Hi, Dawn. How are you, Miss Dawn, to you? I see my mom. I see Kayla. I see DC, see Parker. She said, I was waiting for your live. Kayla, we came live at 3 o'clock in the morning, sis. We came live at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was on here for like an hour. And after we came live, I went to sleep and woke up to start prepping my home for New Year's. If you watched the live from earlier, I said I didn't even know if I was coming on today. But nonetheless, I want to talk about marriage. And like I said, I was cleaning all day. I went and got a pedicure, yada, yada, all that cute shit. Cleaning my house. I did laundry. I did, everything you're supposed to do. I literally have one load of laundry just from today. You know how kids are, that I have to wash tomorrow. But besides that, we're together. But I want to talk about marriage because I had a conversation with this human being the other day that literally told me, he told me that I was hustling backwards, right? He told me that I was hustling backwards because I was supposed to be the kind of woman that makes a man want to just be around her based off of her, feminine charms, right? And we all know I'm a lot of things, but one thing I am is extremely feminine, right? I'm extremely feminine. I'm extremely ladylike. 80% of the time. The other 20% of the time, I'm on here with y'all talking mad shit. Nonetheless, I was just thinking about like my upbringing and this person's audacity to tell me something like that when I know for a fact that they come from a single mother and a single household. And I was also thinking about like Tyrese, because again, I want to talk about Tyrese tomorrow morning. So in the aspect of putting all of this shit together, right? And I'm just thinking about Tyrese and him not being able to hold his marriage together past 3 years. and this person who has been in my life on and on for so many years, and the dysfunction, hold up, and the dysfunction that I feel comes from this person, even though they're, mature in financial aspects, a lot of different aspects. But when it comes to man-woman relationships, I kind of think that there's a deficit there, right? And they can't comprehend me because they come from a single mother household, when I come from people who were married when they had me. And even if they got a divorce, right? Because they got a divorce. My dad was married, remarried. My dad has always been married. Always. My entire life. I've come from the upbringing of seeing what the balance of a man-woman relationship is, right? My mom, I had a stepdad. I don't even know, since when they got divorced, when my parents divorced, my mom is in the chat, she'll let y'all know. I had a whole dad, I had a whole fucking dad. I had two stepdads. Yeah, my mama was hot. Nonetheless, I had two whole fathers who were there, so like my opinion on relationships and what makes things work and how things are supposed to be doesn't necessarily align with people who don't understand that. I was sitting here really contemplating and really thinking on, what people who have not been raised in like, not even just my parents, right? My family, the people that I grew up around, good, bad, or indifferent, on both sides of my family, my mother's side and my father's side. For the most part, I'm going to say 80% of these people were married, right? For the most part, 80% of these people were married. So I grew up with a different outtake on things, a different comprehension on what makes a wife, right? And what, to me, makes a wife isn't necessarily the fact that a wife is there to, especially when you're a husband that's worth being a fucking husband, your wife is there to cheer you on, right? When you're doing amazing, to tell you that you're the shit when you have stirred that motherfucking Kool-Aid, and that Kool-Aid is nice and sweet, but not too sweet. You know what I'm saying? But it's nice and sweet enough for it to be perfect. She's there to drink that motherfucking Kool-Aid and cheer you on, right? And she's also there to call you on your shit when you're not living up to the person that you should be and that is needed to benefit the household, right? To be the type of wife that just allows your husband, man, boy, whatever, this is how you do it, right? Just allow him to just, to just go off in his manic retardedness and just act like everything he say is right. He must be right because he's the man. Allows you to be, and again, y'all know I'm Panamanian, Black, Hispanic, nonetheless, but you can even see it in a lot of white Hispanic, and native, you could say more native Hispanic households where where the husband has the whole reign of the family, but wasn't raised, but don't know really how to manage his family, right? Doesn't comprehend, respecting his counterpart, his word being his bond, being able to be dependable, being able to like be dependent on, right? Being the man that you can actually look up to and not have to fucking question all the time on his stability, right? I say a lot of things. Y'all know I got married at 24, but let me tell you one thing my ex-husband has never said about me: that I wasn't a good wife. I'm an amazing wife because I knew how to handle everything that needed to be handled and still be the woman that God, since my mama on here, let me say, Jesus told me I needed to be, because that's how I was raised, right? To do what you needed to do, to be a woman who works in silence and violence, to make sure that everything that we have created continues to stay the course, right? I swear to you, I was just sitting here minding my whole business. My back hurts. Okay? Because I did laundry today. I went and did a pedicure today because I was like, I'm not bringing in New Year's with these crusty ass feet, child. I went and did a pedicure today. I did laundry today. I literally cleaned my whole house, top to bottom, every cabinet, every drawer, everything. Cleaned it all. But I was sitting here with my back hurting me or whatever. And I don't know what I was really doing, but my mind just started drifting to the shit. And I really started just having this whole conversation with myself. And then I was like, you know what? Let me get on YouTube. I don't look the part, so I'm not going to go on video because I still have my bonnet on. It's a lot happening right now. I had to clean up. And with my daughter, because again, I'm raising her to be able to handle her household when she has a household. It is a different comprehension of what relationships are, how relationships should be, how a man-woman dynamic should be when you are dealing with someone who, like myself, were raised by married individuals in comparison to people who weren't necessarily raised that way. I've learned that since I was in my 20s. I've realized that from my 20s, people who had, guys per se, who had like parents who were together, even if they might have been divorced, they were together for a very long time before the divorce, or their parents were married, separate from whatever, are a different breed from people who grew up even in a single parent household, single mother household, even with their father still in their life on a weekend basis or whatever situation. It's just a different comprehension. And like I said, I don't even know where this is going, but I just was really sitting here thinking of the different dynamics. Like even in my ex-husband situation, right? My ex-husband his parents were married for about 60 years in total. By the time we got married, we got married at, what do we got married at? 24, 25? Bro, I try to block that time in my life out. 24, I believe. At that time, his parents were probably married a good 40 years. And the detriment of our marriage wasn't anything that I did. The detriment of our marriage was him being shameful of the fact that he could not live up to the standards that he knew he should have lived up to as a man, right? Which then caused other issues in our relationship, yada, yada. Nonetheless, shit happens, but the core reason of our situations and our, was he couldn't live up to the image, the manhood, the structure that he saw from his father, right? Not because I wasn't a good wife, Not because I was clingy or unclingy. Not because I wanted to hang out when he didn't want to hang out. These things didn't come up. Not because of any of those things. There was his deficit, right, in living up to what he knew was expected of him as a married man based off of how he grew up. She said they married 40 years. No, I said they were married 40 years when we got married, DC. When we got married at 25. By the time her husband died, who again, she never have to work in her life. She has no worries in her life. They were married. He died about 3 years ago. Okay. They were married about a good 60 years. They got married at like 18 and she's like 80 now, right? That's what I meant. At the time we were married. I was just thinking about that. When I was younger, I wouldn't even date a man that did not come from a two-parent household. I had strict reasons and a whole soliloquy for friends of mine who again did not grow up in two-parent households, or even though my parents were divorced, my parents are even currently so cool. It's kind of sickening. You know, growing up, there was no drama between my parents. There's none now. There wasn't any then. You know, I grew up with two people who were damn near best friends, who had a baby, got married, had a second baby. It didn't work out. They went off to marry other people, but we were all still one big happy family. There was never a situation in my youth, in my adult life, in anything where I ever heard, felt, or thought either one of my parents had any sort of negative remark, animosity, felt away, yada yada, towards each other, right? And that creates a woman in me who I consider to be ideal. Yes, bitch, I'm ideal. But I'm only ideal, or my idealness and how I manage things and how I do things is only recognized. I'm going to say recognized or appreciated by someone who grew up in the same sort of environment as myself. Who the fuck is calling me? Oh God, don't call me nigga. That's my brother. If y'all saw the live from last night, y'all know why I don't want this nigga calling me. Anyway. Yeah. Because I was really sitting up here thinking, again, if you saw the live, we were live streaming at like 3:00 in the morning, right? 3:00 in the morning this morning, because it's still 9 in the afternoon. So this morning we were live streaming and I was talking about, you know, how the Cancer moon has kicked my ass and all the things that that I went through yesterday, right? And again, even one of the things that I went through when I was talking about somebody, you know, it was like I'm thinking about it and I'm just like, we did not grow up the same way. Like the value in relationships, in understanding the value of of a woman who invests or is trying, in comparison to a woman who has grown up in a single mother household who doesn't even comprehend that. Is completely different. And you wouldn't even comprehend that if you did not grow up the way I did. And that's why when I was young, I only dated dudes who came from 2-parent households. Hey, Miss Dawn. Hi, Mommy. Hey, Kayla. Girl, you're not going to be on live. I can go, girl, if you're not going to be on live, I can go watch TV. No, I'm literally sitting here topless. Topless. I was in my bed. Go watch TV then, Kayla. She's out waiting for this live. Letitia, hey Jovi, thanks for coming on. Listen, this is this is my, what do the pastor call it? This is my testimony. This is my testimony about the difference of opinions and the different what's the word I'm looking for? The different fuck. Because I want to get the word, because I got the word in my head. The different, not experiences. Well, I can't get the word. So the different experiences of people who grew up differently trying to intermingle. The difference of not even just my mother, my aunts, my stepmothers, my my cousins, just the women around me, and the different things that we think and believe in comparison to girls who did not grow up like us. This is why I was able to get married at 24. This is why even before I got married, I was proposed to like 3 fucking times. Because a wife is a wife. A wife mentality is not a side bitch mentality, or not a baby mama mentality that is, well, I don't give a fuck and I'm not gonna care and I'm gonna do. That is not a wife's mentality. That is a girl who is a baby mom's mentality. That is I raised my kid by myself and I don't need nobody mentality. And that's okay. That's fine. That's how you want to. That's cool. But those mentality work best with men and people in general who grew up and were raised like that. I wasn't. DC said, I want to talk shit and gossip. I don't want to talk shit and gossip today. She said he sounded like a lame. Hey, Angel, how are you? Not tomorrow, babe. Do you answer whispers? Oh, God, you're weird. There it go then. He don't know about that. And what a real bond look like in a marriage. That's what it is. I know what a marriage looks like. I know what being invested and loyal and, the betterment, and even calling a motherfucker on his shit when he is not doing what he is supposed to do in any aspect of life, relationship, business, what the fuck ever looks like. Listening to who? I'm not listening to nobody. He sounds problematic. Who y'all talking to? Who y'all talking about? DC said, would you raise your child how you were raised? I raised my child how I was raised. I raised my child to be a wife. In harsh contrast to, yeah, I'm not remarried. I didn't just remarry because I didn't just want to get married for the sake of being, but yes, I raised my child as a whole fucking wife. As a whole fucking wife, because I want my daughter to be able to have a whole household and a whole husband, and for it to last the test of time. Oh, y'all talking about Tyrese. Sorry, I know who you're talking about now. And for it to last more than 3 years, because it's real easy to not invest, not do your entire best, not just be the husband or wife that you should be if you never learned that shit from any fucking body. Child, in the future, maybe. But no, I am not pregnant, child. I'm not pregnant or having a baby anytime soon. Kayla said, I feel like Jovi would have a man and would be married to have a baby with them or raise a baby with them. She says super women. Wives are super women. Wives are not groupies. Wives are not fly by fucking night. Wives are not just whatever because whatever, I'm getting, he paying this, I'm getting this out of him. No. A wife is there to make you better. It's a whole fact that a man without a wife, even if he makes more money than a man who is married with a wife, by the end of his life, he will not only live longer, but will also have more wealth. Why? Even if the wife doesn't work. Why? Because a real wife holds it the fuck down and hold you accountable for your behavior, for your every fucking thing. And it's not just, enticing sexually, right? She holds you accountable. She questions you. She asks fucking shit that should be fucking asked when the other bitches who don't know no better or haven't seen any better just say, okay. DC says she did the best she could, but it didn't matter. She said, I agree, Kayla, nothing lower than that. And should not have to lower her standards for any man. None of us women should have to lower our standards for anybody. And that's the thing. A wife doesn't have to lower her standards or her expectations. Because a man who has husbandly qualities will raise his standards before he will raise his standards, what he's accomplishing, his whatever, before he disappoints, before he is not a man who word is his bond. I watched my dad. I told you my parents got divorced probably when I was like 3 or 4. I remember. I don't remember the divorce, of course, but I remember, walking up the block from my grandmother's house with my mom's. My mother probably don't remember this, but this is literally like, besides the memory I have. No, I have 3 memories from. I don't want to tell you the second one, but I have 3 memories from when I was probably between the age of like 2 and maybe 6. And one of those memories was walking down Nostrand Avenue. And I believe I know my grandmother used to live on Halsey. I believe we used to live on like Hancock or some shit. And walking past the block and turning on the block. And I remember my mother carrying my brother. She was carrying him and I was walking because I was bigger, and she was carrying him and she was like, no, we don't live there. And I was like, why? She was like, don't turn there, come. And she was trying to make me walk straight. And I think I was like, why? And she was like, we don't live there no more. And that was my first introduction to my parents are not together anymore. I was probably like 3, maybe 4. And I knew that moment my parents were not together no more. But they were still, like I said, cool. They both got remarried, probably, like I said, within 2 years of that. And I still grew up, whether it was, the time I spent at my home with my mom or the time I spent on the weekends with my dad with inside of a 2-parent household. And understanding, even when I was young and I didn't understand what the fuck I was understanding, but still understanding the dynamics that were happening and that were going on and that is needed or necessary in marriage, right? She fuck agrees. She said there's no household educated women. There's no household education women have been so undermined. They have been undermined completely. I do agree with you. They have been undermined, and even men of certain, even when they think it's at certain levels, there are some deficits in people that when they can't comprehend these things, they just cannot comprehend or get what the fuck is happening when they didn't see it on a day-by-day basis. She said, you would have treated your son. No, I wouldn't have. DC, don't say that. DC number 2, because we know DC Purple Diva is my number 1 DC. You my number 2 DC. I've been saying to my mom and to everyone else that I wanted a son. I always knew I was going to have a daughter first. I just knew that when I was young. But I wanted to have a son so I could raise him to be the proper husband that he can be, because I was surrounded by people who did not comprehend what it was. Even when I was young, I talk a lot about sometimes, I talk a lot about like how when I was really young and like my high school boyfriend, we both grew up with parents. Our opinions on relationships and how things went down, and like people would really try to be like, people didn't understand us. Even when we were in high school, people didn't understand the dynamics of our relationships. Hindsight 2020, the people who didn't understand our relationship came from single parent households, came from men who left their mothers with them, came from women who did not comprehend what it was to be a wife because nobody wanted to wife them. So they never comprehended our dynamics or why I behaved the way I behaved, or he behaved or treated me the way he behaved. People couldn't get it. And at the time we thought we're like, what the fuck? Are we weird? Like, what's happening? Why people think we, but the reality is that too many Black households, especially in the hood, households, that was the word, especially in the hood, aren't necessarily raised the way me or him was. Even though his parents got divorced, but they got divorced in like high school. So at least in his lower upbringing, those very, important years of childhood development, he had both parents. And just certain things were engraved automatically inside of him in comparison to a lot of the guys that I went to school with who, one, didn't even know who their daddy was. Two, they knew who their daddy was, but their daddy ain't one had nothing to do with them. Three, their mother was some angry black woman who didn't allow their daddy to have anything to do with them. That wasn't my life. The people that were really close to me, or who I have had relationships with, I'm going to say for the majority of my life, that was not our lives. So it may have seemed shit. Even a lot of things that I say to a lot of people here. I had a conversation. Y'all know we have a members only chat. I was speaking to one of our members in a member only chat just on the dynamics of, it bothered me how, not even what she said, how she said it. And I don't want to say who it was. It don't really fucking matter. But one of y'all ladies said, was like, we were talking about marriage and her ex and some shit like that. And it went along the lines of, I won't have a man living with me until, she was telling, she was telling me what she was going to tell her ex or told her ex or some shit like that. And it was like, I won't have a man live with me unless he's my husband. And I literally, as soon as she said that, everything, because I was like in the middle of writing some shit, addressing some other shit she said, right? But I had to stop, delete, and write, no, ma'am, you will not be married until you have a man who is capable of you living with him. It may not sound different to certain people. What she said in comparison to what I said. But if you grew up the way I grew up, or if you comprehend that marriage is about a man putting in effort and provide, that whole provider mentality, and not being used like a lot of women were, you would comprehend what I just said. I'm gonna give you a moment. I'm gonna repeat what she said. Matter of fact, let me read it. I'm gonna read it verbatim so y'all can comprehend exactly what I'm saying right now. Let me find it, because it was in a whole group chat. Hold up. And we text a lot in our group chat. Again, if you want to join our Instagram group chat, you have to, number one, be a member of the channel. Memberships are on the main page next to the subscribe button, that join button. Join the membership, and then hit me up or Jada or Mahogany to be able to get into our members only chat. Hold up. Here, I'm close to it because I see the way the chat is going. Okay, here we go. Hold up. Okay, she wrote, I told him, only man that lives with me is my husband. I said, no. Only man you live with is your husband. Do y'all see the difference? Do y'all see the difference in what she said? Like the nuances. You have to catch the nuances. And those nuances are the difference between women who get married. Like I said, my mama done been married 3 times, y'all. I tell you. You know, people who are married and people who date and get nothing sustainable out of it. Right? Okay, hold up. Let me go back up because the chat then went all the way down. She said real union, putting up with beatings, cheating. Listen, everybody don't get their ass beat, DC. Everybody don't get cheated on, DC. Everyone don't have outside babies, DC. This is your experience, the experience you saw your parents go through, that you, or your own experience that you think is normal. That is not normal. That, in my opinion, is the dysfunction of a lot of people. That is the dysfunction of a lot of people. Because a lot of people are going through shit like that. Majority of people, in my opinion, who go through shit like that are the motherfuckers who been together with somebody for 10 years and a nigga won't marry you. You been in the house with this nigga for 10 years. He whooping your ass. He have an outside kid. You doing all of this. You done spent 20, 30 years with this motherfucker and he don't even respect you enough to marry you. So of course he gonna beat your ass. Of course he's going to be out here having other kids and cheating on you. I'm sorry, DC, but we're just not the same. If you think that's what real unions stand for. And it's not, again, it's not, did you hear anything that I said, ma'am? Because it's not only being able to financially provide. There's a lot of men who could financially provide who have no idea what the fuck a marriage is or even how to do it. Right? There are tons of them. Look at a lot of these celebrities with a single mother raised asses and they 40, 50 years old. Look at Diddy. 40, 50 years old and all of this shit and can't have a good wife or shit. Or when they do get married, they get married to something that they think is a good wife, but they don't even comprehend what a wife is. So they can't. So it don't ever work out. Shade said the simplicity. It's so simple. So Jovi, did Danny Lee? I don't know her household. I don't know her household. I do know that she is way too excited for him to claim her. But that's not even what we're talking about. C. Parker said value, yes, values are different. We don't see things the same. Y'all hear me lighting that thing. Mind y'all business. Hey, 12, how are you? All the people your parents forced into your life. Hey, Bianca. She said, yo, I nearly missed a live. How long you been on? Child, we ain't been on that long. The two said, I really feel like I know what a marriage looks like as well. I just can't marry to marry. He has to be my better half. He has to be financially, emotionally, mentally, and physically stable. Physically healthy in and out. Okay. Hey, Naja. C. Parker say, I feel what's wrong with these men these days being raised with no real. There you go. There you go. They have no, and again, even in the, I see my dad on the weekends and all of this shit. I used to, me and my cousin used to get into it because she has a man. They not married because she got daddy issues. Her daddy issues are the reason she's not married. Nonetheless, her man has been damn near in her house, you know, whatever. She just keep fucking it up. She keep trying to put up. She just fucked up. Okay. But like every time he puts his man foot down, because he was raised by a father, he was raised by, you know, majority of his life he lived with his father. So he, you know, anytime he would put his foot down, she just couldn't comprehend it, and she would get all upset, and they would argue and they would fight, and I would tell her she cannot have, she has sons, you know, she cannot baby these boys. She is the hindrance to them. He is trying to create men, while she, as a woman, whether you recognize it or not, is facilitating little boy bullshit, and are going to be the damage of her sons. I said it. I don't give a fuck. She said, I'm starting to raise her daughters the same. Oh boy, we talking about from the beginning when we first came on. I know we all over the place. He that finds a wife finds a good. Listen, y'all know I ain't even Christian. Y'all know I don't believe in the Bibles and church and shit. But I do believe that is true. A wife, not a bitch that's gonna let you just do what the fuck and just deal with it, because that's not the type of woman that can adequately manage and flip your household. That's not it. She said, why settle for less is not an option. Jovi, you speak on it. I'm just saying. Not just said, you're right, Jovi. Both my husband and me came from our parents married. We knew what marriage looked like. Okay. Kayla said, Naja, I date people who knew what marriage was. Like, just in case we got feelings and the ring popped out, we both know how to be married. A lot of people think they do, but they have no fucking idea. No fucking clue. Being in a two-parent household don't make you know how to be in a marriage, though. A lot of folks in two-parents household are as messy in relationships as I don't know what. Crowned, are you from a two-parent household? Is this just something that you're saying? Because I'm not saying no one's perfect. I just said my parents then been divorced. You know, they'd been divorced. I just said that. No one's perfect. But there are a lot of what's the word? Not nuisances. Oh, what's the word? Oh, nuances. That's the word I was looking for. There are a lot of nuances, tiny things, little things that if you did not grow up looking at this shit from a child's eye perspective, even in the crazy, because my parents are not perfect. No one's perfect, right? But even these nuances of relationships and of, you know, roles and of expectations, right? You pick up because that's what you see. Because I didn't grow up watching my mother struggle to, I could do it all by my damn self. Or my dad, you know, thinking he don't need or want a wife because he's financially stable and what she's going to do. He comprehended then and now that a wife only enhances what you have and makes it better. I learned that since I was a little girl. I knew that shit before I was 8 years old. That a wife makes everything moves and happen and flip. Because without her, there is no, not to say there is no, but there is less push. Hey, Pamela. How are you, boo? Hey, fans. How are you, sis? I'm liking late night Joe. She said, I'm liking late night Jovi. I'm liking late night Jovi too. But late night Jovi has her bonnet on. So y'all know y'all can't see me or whatever. Hey, T. Johnson. How are you? Again, these are just conversations because, you know, sometimes I talk to myself, but the real gag is I don't answer myself because a bitch who answers herself, she's crazy. But I was literally here just contemplating on this shit, talking to myself, and I needed an answer, but I'm not a psycho hole, so I can't answer myself. So I decided to come on here and let y'all answer. Hey, Jiggy sis, how are you? Kayla said, I got all day, sis. Pull up. Pamela says she had her both parents. Hold up. Wait, where am I? The two said yes. I forgot what I asked her for her to say yes. Miss Dawn says, facts, Jovi. He's supposed to be the provider. My father's still married to my stepmom to this day. They've been together for 31. I am 33. All I know is my father been that man that I care. That's a kid. Exactly. Like my dad is remarried, but like my stepmom, like that was my stepmom majority of my life. I consider her my stepmom. You know, she was my step. She used to get on my whole fucking nerve, right? But I recognize her wife. You know what I'm saying? I recognize my mom's wife. Not single, ready to mingle ass bitch. Not hot from cock to cock ass bitch like a lot of people that I know or knew, or a lot of people's mothers that I knew back then. I recognized the subtle as fuck dignity and dedication, and just everything I saw growing up. I recognized that for what it is. And I try to exude that in my life. And everybody can't drink that Kool-Aid because a lot of people don't even comprehend what that is. Max Shaw said, God bless or whatever. Max Shaw said, God bless or whatever chick. That's shady. All things. So it's built to me. I come from 2-parent home, I guess. Is that self-confidence that needs to grow. But Latu, let me tell you something, Latu. It's just self-confidence that needs to grow. But the reality is that you recognize the shit that's not okay. You know what I'm saying? You recognize it ain't too much conversation on the chat that we got to have before you recognize your shit. There's a million, you know, there's been numerous people who've been in here, who've been, you know, who will refuse to recognize the shits because they can't, because they never seen it. They've never experienced it. So even in your fuck up, you're still doing better, honestly. And it's sad. It's sad that I have to say this, but you're still doing better than most Black women in America. It's fucked up. She said, right, how you providing while living with me? Social media versus reality. Yeah. Kayla said, I mean, I know a friend who didn't grow up with her parents together and they argued a lot. Yes, membership start. Thank you, Pamela. Membership start at $2.99 and $10. Okay. Thanks to all the members. We appreciate it. I didn't grow up in two personal households, but I made sure my kids didn't see me with this. That man lay up playing house. Nope. Yeah. Everybody don't have the fire in them to say, or the recognition to say, this is not it, and find out what is it to be able to build the family that can last, stand the test of time, and be adequate for their children's development. She said, stop telling on yourself. I mean, y'all know I tell all my business, child. I don't care. I can't even help it, child. C. Parker said, yes, Jovi, not everybody goes through bullshit in a marriage, nor will put up with the bullshit. Normally, if a person comes from a broken home, they tend to create broken homes unless they strive to create better. Exactly, C. Parker. You know, my parents divorced, but I don't really consider myself coming from a broken home, because them niggas was like damn near still, them niggas was just, we had a family in the house, outside the house. We would go to graduations with everybody, graduation dinners for every year with everybody. There was never no beef or no animosity or no, no, none of that drama. I didn't grow up like that. My parents were cool, are cool, and will be cool to the day they die. My mom sent me mad bottles of Lysol and gave me one to give to my dad. Like, I don't have parents the way that I see other people that I know who are in relationships, who can't even comprehend certain things. It's different. So to me, I see things completely fucking different in comparison to a lot of people. Please thank you, Pamela. I raised two adult sons, 23 and 22, by myself in a family that had mothers. Divorce, never been married. Divorce say, okay, never been married. Yet my sons are beyond respectful to women, treat the women they dated like queens. Good for you, G. Johnson. That's a hard fucking task. It's a hard task to raise children by yourself and to raise them adequately. Shout out to you, ma'am. I worked hard to not raise F-boys and value themselves in relationships as much as you value the women. Good for you. Yo, too many of these women out here. I'm going to just keep it a buck, G. Johnson, and the rest of y'all. Raise their sons to be dysfunctional, to be amazing, but dysfunctional, because their sons are their substitute husbands. They raised the sons that they wanted to be their man. Am I speaking it? They raised the sons that they wanted to be their man. And they're no good to anybody else. And they can't even see it or comprehend the dysfunction of the whole shit. Hey, TX. I got my own business. I would think that the wife would want to do. Why the wife ain't going to own her own business or work if she feel like it? Or, I don't know, Viper. What's your dysfunction, sir? What are we even talking about, Viper? You see, this is the kind of mentality. Let me just call a fucking spade. I'm done being nice. This is the type of mentality that I'm talking about. Because Viper, without a picture, without any other fucking information, okay, is telling me right now that he was raised not only by a single mother, but by a single mother who broke her whole back. And his father was not there at at all. That's what that tells me. Okay? All right. Why? Because I grew up differently. C. Parker, thank you. I made mass sacrifices over the last 23 years to push them to accept better than what I did. Ooh! I didn't even read that before I read Viper. I didn't even read that before I read Viper. Okay? There are different levels to this shit. Even for the single mothers, even when the DC asked me, does I raise my daughter to be a wife? Yes. Yes. And if I have a son, I'm going to raise him to be, not to be my husband, but to be an amazing husband and father to his. Yes. There's levels to this, sir, ma'am. Speak on it, Pamela. Pam says, a wife make things better. Damn right. TX said, I hold both parents in my house, and my dad was a great provider. Damn right. Latu said, hallelujah! 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 Y'all know I ain't shit, especially when I've been... She said, T. Parker said, that's beautiful, G. Johnson. I watched my mom struggle working 3 jobs to take it. Can I just say, let me finish reading and then I'll say, working 3 jobs to take care of 4 children. I strive to not struggle. Me and you both, sis. Me and you both. You can't raise your kids. I'm the type of woman, y'all see, I made my whole shit to be able to, it was a given. When I was married, we already knew the minute kids came, I was going to start because I want my own shit. I was going to start my own, I was going to work for nobody no more. Because I wanted and needed to be there to raise my kids the way I wanted them to be raised. Can't raise kids the way they need to be raised if you ain't there to do it. And everybody ain't able to recognize that for what it is. Shout out to you, C. Parker. Everybody ain't able to recognize it for what it is and say, nah, I want better. Too many people thinks that's the norm, and it's not. T. Parker, you're blessed, ma'am. Fine. Hey, Fine Athletic. She said, hey, Jovi, I had a neighbor who you can see barbecue in her drawers every night. Child, all I'm sitting here in my drawers right now, I ain't got on no bra. I ain't got on nothing, child. I have on panties and a bonnet. Whole lot. But I ain't barbecuing, though. I grew up in a 2-parent household and my father. Hey, Luis. Wait, let me get back to the comment. This shit went up. She said, yeah, that shit had me fucked up. I know what was the done? What was the yeah, I didn't okay. This is a sick truth. I have a baby with one. That's a sick truth. I had a baby with one. Listen, the reality is the reality. That's a major problem with back mamas and their sons, making them their emotional husbands, but ain't nobody want to talk about it or call it out. Bitch, I call it out because I am just sick with it. Looking at it, just recognize, you know what's fucking crazy is the thing. Oh God, he ain't never gonna be nobody's. There's mad dudes that I know that ain't never gonna be no good husbands until the day after they mama die. It's fucked up to say that though, but it's the reality. I remember when I got married and me and my mother-in-law used to fight about the front seat of the car. Okay? She would argue with me about me taking my fucking ass in that front fucking seat because I am this nigga's wife. I know so many mothers who don't even comprehend that. at all. I would be arguing with this lady to take her old ass and go sit in the front. I will sit in the back. I am fine, ma'am. I am 26. I am fine. She would not hear of it at all. I would have a whole fucking debate with this lady on a fucking sidewalk about the damn front seat, and not the ghetto debate y'all done seen on the Facebook. The whole opposite. We arguing about the other person going in the fucking front seat. But too many mothers out here. I told y'all about this girl that I knew. Well, I know her. I knew her. I know her. She's not dead or nothing. She had a son, and her son dad was trash. When I say literally her son dad, they lived like a block and a half away. This nigga and his mom would walk past her and the baby like they don't know them. Not even glance over, bitch. Like they don't know them. Okay? This is what she went through. And this girl, we went to brunch. I know I told y'all this story a couple weeks ago. We went to brunch once trying to meet this girlfriend. I'm like, she needs a friend, bitch. She needs a friend. No, Tasha. You know, Tasha's the Libra. She always want to be a whole friend. So Tasha was trying to be like, she needs a friend. She needs a friend. And I was like, all right, bitch, invited a brunch. I'm sick of you. So Tasha invite this girl to brunch. Yada, yada, yada. We get the brunch, and this girl, she bring the baby because she didn't have a sitter, which is fine. I get it. That's not the problem. But she said, she was like, she was like, ain't no girl gonna be good enough for my son. My son gonna be she was laughing and shit, but that bitch meant that shit. My son gonna be my husband. Ain't no girl gonna be good enough for my son. And I was looking at her. I was looking at Tasha looking at me. We had our other homegirl with us. We looking at each other. We looking at her. We just looking around. And it was just like the dysfunction has continued in the generations. Because your son is going to be that nigga who walked past his baby, and you're going to be standing next to him when he does it, like the bitch who did it to you. Naja said, Jovi, that's a conversation many mothers aren't ready to have. Listen, we gonna call a spade or nah. Jovi Johnson, then they want their women to be their moms. I'm nobody's mother. I'm your wife. I'm not your mother. Your mother was supposed to raise you. What your mother gives you is not what your wife gives you. I'm not your mom's. If anything, you should base me off of how your mother treated your father, her husband. But if you didn't know that, if you didn't see that, you have no fucking clue. You have no fucking clue. G. Johnson says, CPAC, I hope that I find an official someone, but if I don't, my son will be husband, father, my daughter, a wife, mother, no baby daddy or baby mother. It's tacky, it's embarrassing. Child, so embarrassing. Why be married to a man if you gotta bust your butt and still tend to the home? I'm not busting my ass for nobody and tend to my home. That's not how I was raised. My stepmother didn't drive. Y'all think it is y'all want to know a little secret? Y'all know I got my license this summer. There is a reason I never drove. Like I drove a car, but there's a reason I never had a license until this summer. COVID and all of that made me go and get my license. But I grew up with a father who drove my stepmother wherever the fuck she needed to go, whenever the fuck she needed to go. My mother got her license at fucking 40 when she moved to Atlanta because she was always chaperoned around by a husband. I attempted to when I was younger, but it was like, whatever. Yeah, okay, fine. Nah, this nigga gonna drive me around. Whatever. He gonna come pick me up. He gonna come drop me off. It's whatever. I'll take a. He'll call me a cab to come get me, or call me the cab to come drop me. Okay, you know. Miss Dawn said, "Oh my God, you speaking truth." And then when their sons find someone good, they run them off or straight bumping heads for the wife against the moms. Hell no. Yeah, girl. Yes, they run them off. Run them off. Run them off. Cause commotion, cause issues, cause problems. Because that's her husband, not yours, bitch. You have to be a real woman, man, to see the flaws in your life and make a point that this isn't ideal. Being married and happy, living well is the goal. Don't share yourself with just anyone. People don't understand that, man. I get 100% what you're saying. Too many of our Black men and Black women don't comprehend that shit. They don't, because they never seen it. No one told them. Just no one told them. They think, so many of them think they're so mature and so above shit. And they cannot see their damage playing out. Huh? So what that mean? He looking for another mother, or just going to step up or seat back? A lot of them be looking for a mother they don't understand. Or they end up like Tyrese. But again, I want to talk about Tyrese tomorrow morning. I really don't want to talk about Tyrese now. I'm about to tell y'all, I'm about to go in Jovi style with the whole Tyrese shit. Okay, I was even thinking about just making a Tyrese video and not even doing a live, because I just want to go in. I don't even want the comments really. I just want to tell y'all what it is. My soulmate was unable to fulfill love me because his mother did not approve of Black American women, especially a single mother who would say, "Don't let her trap you," etc. Trap you. That's what his daddy's mother said to him. You know what I'm saying? That's a dysfunction. Like, I grew up, I remember, this is how deep it go with me and mine. I remember my cousin got pregnant at 16, child. We thought her life was over. I remember she was like 2 years. She is, not was. She ain't dead. She is like 2 years older than me. She got pregnant at 16, nigga. You know they got married at like 17, right? Like, they got married at 17. We was like, oh, fuck. It was like, fuck. I saw again, and I grew up in the neighborhood. My high school had a daycare. That's how deep it was in my neighborhood. But I already knew it wasn't a go, because if it went, these niggas would make me marry this nigga at 17. And I wasn't with it. And I didn't want to be a wife at 17. He said he wasn't your soulmate. He was just another man. Child, because he was your soulmate, his mom wouldn't have been able to fuck his life up like that. So it's fine. So maybe do a premiere for the Tyrese video. Best about what? That's true. I might do that. Yeah. Recently, I was in the ER. My son dropped me off and went to hang with his girlfriend. I called him to get picked up. His girlfriend got mad. I wanted to take an Uber. He came. I told him to drop me off quick and get back to her. That's a mom. Shout out to you, G. Johnson. A lot of moms, like, just the shit. Like, I be hearing, again, y'all know I be dating or whatever. But just the shit that people tell me, like, they moms. And in my head, I be like, are we 22? Or are we grown-ups? Like, what? Huh? Like, what? Or just like I said, the nuances of just things people say, even in joke and jest. Even in joke and jest. I had a nigga tell me one time, oh, he was talking about some shit. And he was like, because my mom think I'm her, because my mom think I'm her husband. And I just looked at him like, like that ain't cute. That's only cute to a bitch who don't know no better. That's only cute to a chick who don't know no better. She gonna think, oh, he's so close to his mother. No, bitch. His mother is fucked up. I'm gonna say not fucked up. I'm not gonna say okay, fucked up, but his mom is playing out her life through this nigga. And you ain't never gonna win, sis. Cause this nigga's too busy being his mom's man to ever be yours. She said, what she said? She said, okay, no. She said, daycare in high school, Lord, yeah, child. That was the not child. They had a whole daycare in my high school. The ghetto, child. I was like, I used to be like, oh my God. I like never. Because again, I didn't grow up to be nobody's baby mama. Like I said, I know people. I dead ass know people with adult. I have friends with 20-something-year-olds kids. I have people that there's this girl that I know from high school, real rap. When I got divorced, when the fuck I got divorced? When I left, Mitch, like 30. I was like 30. This bitch had grandkids. I'm 40 now. She could be a fucking great grandmother. She was just, I didn't know her. We weren't cool. I don't know her name, but I remember this one chick. She had twins in high school, like in 9th grade. And her kids came to the school, in the daycare, whatever. And her kids had kids. And like, cause she lived on the same block as my homegirl. She always, not my homegirl, my homegirl's mom. My homegirl didn't live there forever. But anytime I ever visited my homegirl's mom, let's say one of her grandkids had a party, because, whatever. I know all her daughters, yada, yada, yada. I would see her and, her kids is older and her kids had fucking kids. And I'm 40 now. So the probability of her actually being or close to being a great grandmother is quite fucking strong. Quite fucking strong. She don't have no dad. She never grew up with a dad. This is, again, I don't want to judge hoes. Mercedes. Hold up. 959. What is this? Hold up. Mercedes, comment real fast so I can. How are you? Comment, Mercedes, if you're in the chat. Hold on, let me. Hold up. Let me. Somebody asked how to get in a group. And chat so I can see you are a member. Okay. Because if we're going to do this right now, before I have to go look stuff up, just comment in the chat, Mercedes. You send me a message on Instagram. Just comment and say, hey, it's me, M, or some shit. So I know. And I will put you in the chat. Same, never. Going for my license now, but the same. I never had to get around by myself. Always had a man take me wherever I wanted to. So I truly understand what you're saying, Jovi. Yeah, I've always just, that's just how it is. I grew up like that. That was normal for me. My family did everything together. We had dinner together, discussed our day, had family meetings, family vacations. The two say, yeah, I believe that daycare in high school. Girls at my old middle school stay getting pregnant. Yeah, that's how it was in my high school. Chicks had babies. They had a whole daycare center. It was by the pool. We had a pool. Yada, yada, yada. We had a pool. We had a whole daycare by the pool, like the ghetto of it all. The ghetto of it all. I was like, I knew. But again, I was not with it. But again, even my high school boyfriend used to, but we never, because we had enough common sense. But if we got pregnant, we was gonna get married. And I used to be like, I'm not getting married. Like, no, you gonna be my baby mom. No, it was just like, it's a different mentality. Single mothers also have to point out that a real man does pay bill, budget, honor your mom. Hold up. Your mom, man, don't put hands on them, nor stay below the belt hurtful words that you can never take back. That too. It's all by example. But if you don't see it, I've never seen I tell y'all about my dad all the time. My dad is so calm. He's a Taurus. I told y'all, but he's so calm. I've never seen my dad really be screaming unless he's having a conversation with his brothers, right? I've never seen my dad get loud or disrespect my mom in any sort of way. His wife, never. Even he got divorced or whatever. He's got a whole new wife because, again, he believes in marriage. I've never seen my dad disrespect, get loud, none of that. Again, when my uncles and they like, yeah, man, and they cussing and they, not even cussing, they just loud, because they whatever. But towards a woman, towards one of my aunts, towards one of us little girls, we have tons of uncles. It's mad. My dad got mad brothers. None of them get too loud or have ever cussed out or cussed at their daughters or any of their nieces. And I mean, I'm Panamanian. We breed like roaches. For the most part. My dad, on my dad's side, has the least kids of all of my uncles. My dad has 4 of them. No, now it's 5. 1, 2, 3, 5. Now it's 5. My dad has 5. He has the least children out of all of them. And my dad has the most boys out of all of them because it's only me and my baby sister. The other 3 are boys. The 3 in the middle are boys. But everybody else, majority of his brothers have beard girls. Beard girls. It's mad girls. Matter of fact, it's mad girls on both sides of my family now that I think about it. But like, especially, just to give you an example, I'm not even going to use my mother's side. I'm going to use my dad's side. The men, they don't get aggressive. They'll fuck your ass up if you fuck with one and they do it. They might shoot you because they got fucking official guns, they cops and shit. But they don't get aggressive. They don't cuss at women. I've never seen any of my fucking 9 uncles on my dad's side get disrespectful towards any woman, say anything rude to their daughters, thing that wasn't loving as fuck. All of them married. If some crazy shit happened and they got divorced, every last one of them was remarried within at least 3 years. At least 3. I'm going to give you 3. At least 3 years. That's how I grew up. She said, I knew a woman who became a grandmother at 27, so I know about the mess. Child, that girl was a whole grandmother when we were 30. And I was looking at her. I was telling my homegirl, I was like, that is the ghetto of it all. I was like, oh my God. I was like, what baby? I like, oh, she had another baby. My homegirl was like, nah, bro, that's her baby's baby. I was like, you got to be kidding me. We were 30. She was a whole grandma. You never know. My parents taught us to love ourselves. You are somebody. Learn your history. Know where you come from. Let no one disrespect you. Get your education and be a pillar of society. Hold up. She had her daughter at 12 and her daughter had a baby at 15. That ghetto shit. Hey, Real Entertainment. How are you, sweetheart? What are we talking about? We talking about the difference between a wife and a whatever. I had I was having a whole conversation in my head, real entertainment, a whole conversation in my head. And you know what they say, it's fine to talk to yourself, but when you start answering yourself, that's when you crazy, ho. So I was like, when I needed answers, I came on here because I was talking and then I was waiting for a response. And I was like, bitch, you're not crazy. So you're not going to answer yourself. So let me go on YouTube so they can answer. I gave people love. I treated people how I wish to be treated. But you got to know, you know what they say? It's you know how some people, and I don't even necessarily want to connect this with marriage because this is not necessarily a marriage thing, but the same type of mentality. You know how some people are raised off of struggle? And some people are survival, not struggle. So some people have a survival mentality because they grew up in decimate situations, right? Some people have a survival mentality. Some people have a love mentality. And maybe it has to do with, maybe, I don't know, maybe it has to do with the fact that I had two parents. I've never grew up in a survival mentality. That's why I don't sweat money. You know, I'd be like, oh, donate to my channel. You know, I need a donation is great, but I'm not going to die, you know, if I don't have, you know, that whole mentality of I never had nothing. So now that I have $1, I need to try to get something I ain't never had before. You know what I'm saying? Some people grew up with the survivor mentality, and I think that survivor mentality, no shade at all. But I think that is a lot of the times associated with single motherhood, not being able to be there to take care of your child because you got to work, of course, to take care of your kid. You got to put in so much to take care of your kid because you didn't have that balance, you know, so that survivor mentality in comparison to my necessarily mentality, or a lot of people like y'all who have a love mentality. You know, like I don't live with or survive. I gotta make it happen or else I'm gonna die. I've honestly never struggled. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck. I've never really, you know, in comparison to a lot of people that I knew in my, you know, growing up, like I went to I remember I was in high school. My homegirl took me to summer lunch, bitch. I didn't even know what that was. I didn't even know that you could go and get summer lunch. I used to go to summer lunch just to hang out with my friends. Not because I ain't have no food in the house, but this is where y'all go. You know what I'm saying? So this is what it is. So this is where you go, you know. Oh, okay. I used to go, like, I recognize summer lunch was where I would go and hang out with my friends in summer school. Not because I have no food like a lot of kids, which is fucked up. You know, even now, crazy. Schools are closed. You know, I tell my daughter all the time, she lives great. She doesn't comprehend it because she's a child. You know, but like there's 2/3 of these fucking kids in New York who go to sleep hungry, who go to sleep, especially in this COVID. They took they go to sleep with no meals. You know what I'm saying? You eat every day, ma'am. You eat good every day. And majority of the time you eat whatever the fuck you want to eat. You know? Like I've never, because I wasn't raised like that. So I don't even comprehend that. I don't comprehend it. Not that I don't comprehend it. I get it. But for myself, I can never comprehend that. So it has never gotten that serious for me because I couldn't even comprehend what the fuck that looks like, because I've always been taken care of. But there's a lot of people who grew up in a survivor mentality who, even if they are doing amazing, right? Amazing. They still have that survivor mentality that they still gotta, it's just a different type of shit. She says, so the woman was a great grandmother at 39. Whoop, child. My father was a true gentleman. He provided well. I never wanted for anything. My mother didn't have to work. I had a good life. Good. That's what the fuck I'm talking about. But too, why you sad, ma'am? I remember that summer lunch boy. Child, I didn't know nothing about it. My homegirl took me and I was like, so they just give y'all lunch for free? That's how it was. I literally, like, the first 3 days, I didn't even get lunch. I just sat there. Like the first week, I'ma say, I just sat there and was talking. And by like the next week, I was like, I look crazy. I started getting lunch to blend in because I'm like, I just ate at my house. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I just ate at the house. I don't really, like, I'm hungry. I don't need some breakfast or something. I'm like, I don't really need it. But I'm like, I realized by the second week, I was like, I'm gonna just get this lunch. It's a free lunch. I'm gonna take the lunch. I'm gonna eat the lunch. I'm gonna just blend in with what the fuck is happening around me. I was like, I'm just blending. FYI, if your kid got free lunch in the second round of PEBT for the kids, they have been mailed for over the last 5 to 7 weeks. Okay. Right. Even as an adult. Child, I didn't know what the fuck. My dad used to come on his lunch break to give me $20. Child, when I was in high school, I told y'all, when I was in high school, I did not comprehend how good I had it or how spoiled I was. Shit, I hardly comprehend how spoiled I am now. But I did not. I remember, I told y'all, I had the same boyfriend for years. And we grew up similarly. And I remember it was like one time he used to bring me cake, chocolate cake. Chocolate cake is my favorite cake. We used to have cake in school and very fine juice. Okay, this is back in the day. Every day, this nigga would bring me a chocolate cake and a very fine juice, and just sit in front of me. And I was like a fat girl. I was just so fucking happy to eat this fucking cake and this juice. And I remember one day he wasn't in school on Monday. And when I was in the lunchroom, the lunch lady came over to me with fucking chocolate cake and very fine juice. And I was like, was this for me? I didn't know what was happening. Like the lady came and brought me the shit. She was like, you don't know your boyfriend pays for this every Friday. He paid for the whole week. So, she was like, he paid for the next week every Friday. And I did not. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Because I didn't, I'm like, okay, he not here. No cake and no juice today. And this lady come bringing a fucking cake and juice to me. She was like, you don't know. He paid for this on Friday. He paid for the whole week. He paid for the whole week in advance. Like that's how I grew up. So I don't comprehend the struggle in the ghetto. My mom was sending us old dance. Our cousins too. You starting to sound like a gen. I never seen it. No, I've seen a food stamp. I've never said I didn't see a food stamp. See, there's difference between I didn't see a food stamp and I didn't starve. There's levels to this shit, right? I'm still from Brooklyn. I still in the hood. I ain't saying that I ain't never went to the fucking grocery store without a food stamp. I'm saying I never Nate, I never starve. I never go to school without new clothes for the year. You know how that was. I never do so. I didn't know that there was summer school food. I wasn't rich. I wasn't even middle class because, you know, most black people ain't middle class. But you know what? I wasn't poor and struggling because I had a father, okay? I had a father and a mother who had a very good relationship, even though they were divorced. And I never knew of any time my mother, even again, my mother ain't have the best jobs all her fucking life. But that didn't mean shit because my dad made up for whatever the fuck you didn't have. Because I didn't have parents who were in a fucking battle of angry black woman and trash nigga. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I had fucking food stamps. I would go grocery shopping with food stamps sometimes. I didn't know there was that much struggle. I didn't know growing up. You wanna know something? I was mad ignorant. I was so ignorant. I didn't know that people didn't have dads until I was out of high school. Like, I didn't know that people didn't know who their fathers were. I always assume, and it was crazy because I would assume this shit and my friends would go along with it. I guess it was easier just to go along with my fairy tale than to just say, nah, my dad deuced my moms when I was 2. You know what I'm saying? I would automatically assume, because again, I grew up in the hood. So I would just order, and my dad was police. I automatically assumed that if your dad wasn't in your household, if your dad wasn't around, period, it was because he went, though this is my mentality. I swear to you, this was my mentality when I was a kid, and I didn't learn this shit till after high school. Your dad was probably deported, because again, I came from Caribbean back. I'm Caribbean, you know, I'm Panamanian. He was deported, or he was in jail because he was selling drugs trying to take care of your family. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what I'm saying? He wasn't in jail selling drugs trying to live up to the hood. He was in jail selling drugs trying to take care of your family. This is always what I assumed. If I knew people who did not have a father present, it was just a given. And I guess I used to, just because y'all know I got a big ass mouth, I'm on YouTube, I would just say this shit and people would just go along with it. Like, yeah, he's in jail. You know, he was trying to do that. You know, people, I had to learn after that a lot of shit that I thought was not what it was, especially with a lot of people that I knew. And they would just go along with my assumptions of their fucking lives. Because again, I did not comprehend that men, I did not comprehend. I told y'all the story about, like, I was 19 and I was fucking with this dude, and his cousin was fucking with my homegirl. And it was here Labor Day. Y'all know Labor Day in New York, you know, the Caribbean Day parade, shit turned. And especially when I was like in my 20s, I used to have my squad. I was like the fucking the band is the, you know, the group of people, but without a band, just me and my homegirls would have on outfits I would dead ass curate. Okay. I would get these bitches would give me money. Because again, y'all know I put some shit together, whether it's my house, my an event, myself, bitch, I can wrap it together. I've always been like that. And I would buy our outfits to coordinate, to be dope. People used to take pictures of it. It would be a whole shit. And I remember I was fucking with this nigga. I was fucking with this nigga. I was like, fucking with this nigga. We was in his house. And his cousin lived downstairs, right underneath us. So his cousin was upstairs. And we sit on the couch. We just sitting there, and I'm just going through. It's like July. It's like July. Labor Day, the parade is September, whatever, the first 3 days, 4 days, at least the first week, whatever. And I'm here trying to get outfits together. I'm here going, I'm like in the city, trying to get, I remember the outfits for this shit too. It was like these cute ass shorts. And I went to like the city, to the bead district. Cause in Manhattan, they literally got areas that you can get beads, sequences. Like it was like, it's still like that. I'm a fashion girl all the way. And I was plotting these outfits, and I'm like, yeah, but again, you don't wear heels and shit on Labor Day. You wear sneakers. So I'm like, yo, I'm telling my boyfriend, I need there was like these pinky red colored, like coral. They were like coral color Air Max. And I turned to this nigga, his cousin, who was fucking the dog shit out of my friend every other day, boy. Every other day. Dog shit. Me and this nigga wasn't even fucking the amount of times. He was fucking his girl. And I turned to him and I was like, yeah, Rhonda. Let's say her name is Rhonda, child. Rhonda needs those green Air Max. This nigga looked at me. He turned. They was playing a video game. I was like, yeah, you need to get Rhonda the Air Max, or you can just give me the money and I will go buy them. Mind you, I'm like 19, 18, probably turning 19, right? Again, I told you I didn't know too much. I thought I knew everything until I didn't know. And this nigga turned to me in the middle of the game. It was like, Joe, I would buy you Air Max before I buy this bitch Air Max. He was just fucking her the night before. I was like, what? I was so stuck. My boyfriend at the time had to explain to me what the fuck, because I didn't know. We don't know, because again, how I was raised, I did not comprehend. I could not but again, but in that example, it was fucked up. His name was Mike. I'm gonna just say it. Fuck it. Mike was mad fucked. That was fucked up what he said. But the fact that he recognized the fact that he would buy me and my stupid naive ass sneakers before he bought this bitch sneakers says so much. Said so much to me. Not even I ain't buying that bitch no sneakers. The fuck you talking about? He said I would buy you those Air Max before I bought that bitch them sneakers. And turned back and played the game. And my whole face was like, what? And my boyfriend was like, and then he started explaining to me, and I was like, what? Wow, not the lunch lady brought it to you. Love it. Eat the cake. I did eat the cake, Anime. Anime ate that cake. I was such a stank little bitch. I'm a stank bitch now. I ain't never had a fucking option. It's different to not have seen food stamps. It wasn't dependent on food stamps. Yeah, of course. Yeah, I had food stamps. My mama had food stamps, but that don't mean that I didn't know what WIC cheese was. I was an adult when I found that shit out. Like, people got bricks of cheese. I didn't know that shit. Like, there's levels to the shit. I didn't know that shit. Exactly. The men in your life treated me like a little lady. So when I started dating, my expectations were already set. Yeah. Like, I just automatically, even in my life now, y'all, if y'all watched the live last night, y'all know. If y'all watched the 3:00 night live, a nigga told me that I'm mad pressure. Pressure? It's not pressure. It's just regular old expectations of how shit go in relationships that that are supposed to meant to last. Not, oh, I fuck with him for now, but but oh well, I may not fuck with him in a month. I may have a baby for him and then leave him and then get with another nigga and have a baby for him. And like, that's just not how I was raised. These expectations, which to certain people, if you didn't grow up like that, may seem like pressure, is just different upbringings. Yeah, you're right about that, Jovi. You get her pregnant, you are going to marry her. Like he got her pregnant, my cousin, and them niggas got married. The rest of us were panicking. She got pregnant at 16. The rest of us were panicked. We were like, oh shit, the dad's gonna let us get married. I tell you, my dad is like 9 of them. My dad and his brothers is like 9 of them. They got like 3 sisters. It's like 3. One sister, I believe, died before I was born. They got like 3 sisters. There's 12 of them, like in total. Majority of them were dudes. Majority of them were dudes. So it's like, are dudes, because they're not dead. Only one passed. Only one of my uncles passed away. But majority of them were dudes. And this is just how we grew up. The panic to all of us girls were like, oh, fuck. It wasn't, oh my God, I get pregnant. I'm going to get disowned. It was like, oh my God, I get pregnant. I'm going to have to marry this nigga. It's a different thing. It ain't, I can do it all by myself. Bitch, you knew from jump that you can't. Not even that you can't. That wasn't even, it was like, oh, but you can't do it. No. You weren't. It was no thoughts. It was no conversation. There was no conversation. And the guy that she got pregnant for, his parents was Jamaican, old school Jamaican. Them niggas was getting married. They got married. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a conversation. It was what it was. It wasn't, oh, I'm gonna get pregnant and be somebody baby mama. I never think I was gonna be a nigga baby mama. I was like, fuck, if I get pregnant, I'm gonna have to marry this nigga. Oh my God. How we look like getting married, we in high school. That was my panic. We gonna be, oh my God, it's so embarrassing. We gonna bring the baby to school and put him in the daycare. Like I used to pace. I was like, we can't do this. Like, we can't do it. Oh, you don't want to wear a condom? Bitch! We gonna have to get married. Like, they are plotting. Like, you don't even know. You don't know. Ugh. I would have got whooped for real. We got our asses whooped, but we would have had to get married to that nigga, boy. Don't play that shit in my family at all. At all. All my cousins, even if they ain't married now, every last one of them bitches was married. I got like, off the top of my head, again, I got 9 uncles and 3 aunts. I'm just talking on my dad's side. I'm not even talking on my mom's side, because all them bitches is married too. But on my dad's side, 9 uncles, like 3 aunts. Everybody got more kids than my dad. My dad has the least amount of kids at 5. Majority of them have more girls than boys. And even the boys, you get somebody pregnant, you marry her. I told y'all y'all see my brother, he be running around here. I told y'all last night, my brother is a whole mess. But you know what he also is? A married nigga. He's a whole mess. But he got a whole wife. A whole wife. A whole mess with a whole fucking wife. Okay, sis. you know? So the real question is, the way I started this shit, for all my subscribers, for all the people who will stumble across this video a week from now, a day from now, a week from now, a year from now, 10 years from now, what kind of woman are you? Are you a wife? Or you or whatever kind of baby mama? The choice is yours. I'm out.